This is Sonia Lopez from Bellingham, Washington, and you are watching Ricky Official TV. Bam! It's lit. Just like this.
The infamous ALCATRAZ. I never thought I would be here up close and personal, seeing Alcatraz with my own two eyes. Seems like a dream come true, man. But here we are. Hard work pays off.
Los caminos de tu cuerpo los recorro sin censura, que hasta parecen bonitas todas mis palabras sucias. No lo teníamos pensado, pero vengo.
I was taken before 1906, as you can see the tower in the background. However, if you go to the front of the home, besides the tower not being there, you see one other thing that changed, which are these pillars that I set up for gates. If you go up to the front, the engravings that are on either side of them are no longer there. So the one on the left reads Essa Winchester, straight up Locker Winchester, or who owned the home. The one on the right reads Unada Villa, which in Old Spanish roughly translates to house on flat land, which is a pretty good descriptor for the area around here, as it was just acres and acres of orchard just around this area. Now, although the 7th floor no longer exists, we do still have some remnants of it, which are right over there, and I'll be pointing those out for you on this photo right over here. Those rectangular windows that are hanging right over there are the 6th and 7th floors of this photo. The eyebrow windows that you see right underneath them are on the roof. The finial is front and center, that is very top. And there are some sycamore balustrades which are on the right hand side. You can't see these very well in this photo, but they're actually seen a lot better in that one. You can see them on the 6th floor observation deck. Next, we'll be going outside to the north balcony. Be sure to walk your step, as it can be very slippery out there. We'll also be going outside the view of those columns that are highlighted over there in that photo. As always, watch your step and follow me. Those columns are put out for you in that photo, or those ones right over there. At one point there was a roof, however she did have it dismantled after the earthquake. But she never took down the columns either, so she just left us some columns that support absolutely nothing. If we move over here this way, we can see the chimney which is only about 4 stories. We did go up to the 6th floor when that did exist. You see right over there on the top of the roof. Also, since we are outside, we do get an idea of how much maintenance goes into Victorian homes. It takes a lot to keep them up and make them look nice, as this one mostly does for the most part, and which is ultimately why most Victorian homes ended up being destroyed, because they just weren't practical when it came down to it. Those shingles over there, which is cap, were actually very recently restored, and that's because they look really nice. However, these ones right behind me, they're only about 20 or 30 years old, so not very old next to the rest of the home. However, the way that they look is just from the average wear and tear that comes from being in the Bay Area. So sun, wind, and rain. Now it's where guests like y'all come in. Because of ticket sales, most, if not all, of the money goes directly into the maintenance of the home. And it's because of guests like you that this house is able to look as beautiful as it does. We want to thank you for that, for coming and still making sure that this house looks nice. Next, we'll be going to our first area of the home that requires hard hats, so please put them on frontward on like this. And please keep them on until I tell you to take them off, as there are some low-hanging sprinkler heads. We just don't want you to bump your head on. As always, just be sure to watch your step and follow me. I'll be going last to make sure this door shuts right, but we're going down here to the left. Even though most of the third floor was completely devoted to those service quarters and storage, we believe that this room would have been for Sarah herself. And we know that for a couple of different reasons. The first of which is the plaster on the walls. Most of the third floor is decorated with beadboard, which is a lot cheaper, as well as you don't have to use plaster on it. Now, plaster on the walls meaning that this room was running for wallpaper or the crusted wall covering, which Sarah used to decorate most of her home. There also is this fireplace over here. This is a gas fireplace, which I already mentioned to you were really expensive. It's also one of the 2 fireplaces on the 3rd floor. There also are not 1 but 2 balconies off of this room. Sarah's main bedroom, which you saw in the mansion tour, also didn't even have one. It was a balcony. And it kind of has a sun porch off of it, but that doesn't really count as it was connected to other rooms. And that one right over there, that one's what's called a Rapunzel tower. And that's because it kind of looks like the shape of the kind of tower that Rapunzel's pictured in. On our way out, we'll be passing by some fire stations. Sarah understood the dangers of having a home that was primarily built out of wood, which had these fire stations installed. There are 3 on the 1st floor, 2 on the 3rd floor, and servants could easily pick up hoses to put out the fire if they ever became an issue. Now, on your right-hand side, I'll be pointing out for you. Next, we'll be heading to the witch's cap right over there, the room that is right above the one where we saw the tiles as well as the corbels. Be sure to watch your head and watch your step and follow me. Fire station right over here to the right. That is the shape that looks like from the outside. It kind of looks like a witch's hat. Typically, these rooms were used for attic storage. However, we do have an idea that Sarah might have even used this for a sitting room. As typically, homes then go up to the 3rd floor, so they wouldn't really have use for this. However, this was not the case for Sarah's home. This room also might have even been Sarah's original seance room before the other one that you saw in the mansion tour was built. And it's also where Harry Houdini held his 1924 midnight seance when he visited here. This room, because of its conical shape to its roof, does have a weird acoustical effect. If you stand right over here to the center of the room and you talk loudly and clearly, you can actually hear your voice bounce off the walls and come back to you. Kind of like you're talking with a jar over your head or possibly even underwater. Now, does anyone want to give this a try? Anyone? Okay, so usually it's best if you face this wall and you just talk loudly.
Hello? Oh yeah.
Isn't it weird?
Hello? Yeah, it's like bouncing.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Anyone else want to give this a try?
It's like you walk back and then it stops.
Alright. So next we'll be going to the room that carries origins. As always, be sure to watch your head on the way there. On the way there, we'll be passing over a small footbridge. Feel free to look down, but if you do, please hold your hat. It's a drop all the way down to the first floor, and if you lose your hat, it's actually very hard to get it out of that area. So please hold your hats if you want to look down. As always, just watch your step and follow me.
How accurate is this to like the movie and stuff?
Not very,
Not really
honestly. They took a very basic idea of Sarah and her home and the idea behind it, and they just kind of made it a very Hollywood version of it.
Okay.
Sadly, which is a little bit disappointing, but because a lot of it is not, if not all of it, is just not historically accurate. So most of it is just, but the idea of her being here was all true.
Okay, because I noticed I haven't really recognized anything from the movie
Yes.
so far, you know, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, a lot of it wasn't even filmed here. It was actually filmed in Australia on a soundstage. They made like a partial replica of the home. And what they think it might have looked like during her time, as it did change a lot.
Yeah.
This area is the room of the curious origins, and this room did change a lot after 1906, and it's another example of how much the home did change after the earthquake. We're actually standing right over here in this area where it's all circled with the yellow right here, and we actually blew up this photo, and that's right behind me. And as you can tell, this area, as well as the one in the photo, don't look very similar anymore. But the reason why we know that they're the same area is because of this faucet. This faucet is the same one that's right over there. We also have this triangular shape that's above the doorway, which you can see right over there. We believe that Sarah was planning on expanding her servants' sitting room so that they could have more space during their downtime, so they wouldn't all be squeezed into one small room. This also meant that they would have a nice balcony to look out on some of the property. Also behind me is the other one of the two fireplaces on the third floor. This one is a coal burning one, and since it is coal burning, it does involve ash. There's an ash cleaner at the bottom, so once your fire is put out, you can easily flip up the lid and sweep any of the ash into the hole. That hole is kept to a chute that will typically go down to either the first floor or the basement, so that ash will can be cleaned up without making a mess in the higher floors. Next, we'll be stepping just over into here, so let's watch step. Follow me.
Ooh, that's nice.
This is the servants' sitting room that she was planning on expanding. Before we move on, did everyone hear the wheelbarrow ghost story on the mansion door? Occasionally called Clyde.
No.
You didn't?
The one that would have been that
no,
with all
okay.
Yeah.
last one.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that everyone's on the same page, as we'll be going down to the basement that he's occasionally spotted in. So I'll be sure to point out where he's mostly seen. So be sure to watch your step while we're going down to the first floor to view Sarah's Otis electric elevator. We'll be taking the stairway that also does have the banister on the left that you aren't supposed to use. Please continue not to use it, only use the one on the right. As always, just follow me and watch your step. Also feel free to take off your hats as you step out here. We don't need them to look
se bañaban antes, creo, en esa piscina. Tal como es en el movie.
For the 3 years, I think we'll get it in because of course they're not offering every day. So they That room to the doorway holds the machinery for Sarah's Otis electric elevator, and the car is just right over here. I won't be doing it at the moment. This elevator was installed in 1916 and serviced the first, second, and third floors. It was primarily used by Sarah as her second floor main bedroom. As she was confined to a wheelchair in her later years, so being able to use this elevator would have made things a lot easier for her. And on that wall over there is the only blueprint from the entire home. Otis doesn't typically install residential elevators, they're typically used for office buildings and just not for homes in general. So they actually needed this blueprint even though Sarah didn't need them. You can also see that it was never approved, meaning that it also might have even been installed illegally. Just step right over here so we can see the card of her elevator. So this is the car. This is the original. This is the place that it was stopped in at her death, just about a foot above where the door is. You can also see the buttons that were used. The bottom three were just your typical elevator buttons, so first, second, and third floor. The one right above it was Sarah's fail-safe, just in case her elevator didn't work or malfunction, leaving her stuck in between floors. By pushing down on that button and keeping it pushed, she would hold the elevator in place so it wouldn't slide further down the shaft. Right above it is a call button, so she could call a servant to come help her get out of the situation she was in. Once they got here, they would use one of the cranks that you see in that display right over here, and crank her down to whatever the next floor was so that she could be brought out of the elevator safely. Next, we'll be passing through Sarah's aviary. She held tropical birds in this. We don't know what type or how many, but we just know that she had them as they were mentioned in her will. We'll also be passing by a photo of her dog named Zip. He was a mutt that wandered on the property that looking for a home, and she gave that to him. That will be about halfway through, and I'll be pointing out for you. Be sure to watch your step and follow me. The photograph of her dog is just right up here.
Oh, wait.
Next, we'll be going into the larger of the two basements that Sarah had on the property. It's also the oldest one. This is also would have been her backyard at one point. So this would have been your stereotypical basement doors that would have been opened up back here. Before we go down there, we do require you to put your hats on, as there are some very low-hanging pipes. Please keep them on throughout the entirety of the basement. Just give me a second so I can open this up. So also last, make sure these doors lock behind us, so just be sure to watch your head and watch your step, and we'll be going into that room right there.
Feels good. Feels good down here. Oh, yeah.
This area for basement probably would have been used to hold canned goods, as the shelving unit over there, as well as the lids that are on the doors, are original to the home. Sarah did have orchards, which I probably were mentioned to you before, so almond, plum, as well as apricots. And she probably would have had the fruits stored and preserved down in this area. Watch your head and follow me over this side. This right here is a battery box. Before her home was wired in 1919, this would have powered the call box or call buttons that you saw throughout the home. And each of these wires would have connected to one of these batteries so they could power them. However, Sarah liked to make her servants' lives easier. So if one of the call buttons did stop working, they wouldn't have to try to guess and check which battery it was connected to. It has these paper tags that are attached to them, as you see on all of them, which have the name of the room, so you would easily be able to come down here and replace it without having to deal with too much hassle. Also over here is a call tube. And this was another way that her servants were able to communicate with her. You'd be able to talk into here, and someone else in the house would be able to hear you.
I was just going to ask you about that too.
Yeah, typically they would have a call button right next to it, so you could push the button to get the other person's attention, know that you were talked to, then you'd be able to speak to them. However, we don't actually know where most of these lead to, as they do run throughout the basement. A lot of them did rot out. I believe there's only one of them that is still connected. I don't know which one it is though. I think it's this one is connected to the north wing, but I could be wrong. Also, be sure to watch your head while we're going to view her oldest elevator in the home, her cargo elevator. So watch your step, watch your head, follow me.
I don't think there's any word about that.
This is a cargo elevator. It's also the one that makes the 6 stops all the way up to the 3rd floor. This is a hydraulic elevator. You can see the mechanism right over here, as well as kind of top of the piston. The piston runs about 20 feet down to the ground, and this elevator was installed before the house was built above it, so it'd be a lot easier with a lot less hassle. The way that this would work is that it would have a rope